Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
I was on mute. Sorry.
Good,
Now?
good.
Good. I was looking for the link and I sent you a message on LinkedIn saying I didn't find it, but here.
Okay, I rarely check those messages in LinkedIn, but anyway, so I have your direct. Let me get, you know what? Let's get
Yeah.
each other's phone number. So on my
Yeah.
phone, I'll be able to give me your number, Adrian.
786
786
609
609
1592.
1592. And let me give you mine.
Okay.
Mine is 843
Okay.
779
All right.
2426.
All right.
And my number spells, if you look at your keypad, if you go to your phone and you look at your keypad, you see
Yeah.
how, open up your phone and just go to your keypad.
I'm going to my keypad right now. Just a sec. Keypad. Yes.
Okay, and if you look at, basically, when you look at the numbers, you see how each of these numbers spell have letters in them. So
Yeah.
basically, uh, that was part of my research. That's why it's that. What number did I give you?
843
Right. So
779.
if you look at the eight, my number, you see where 843. It
Yeah.
spells the first three letters spells the. You see that THE,
Okay.
and then the next one is 779. You see here, it's we were doing some psychological mental health with AI, so it spells the psych, PS, and then you see the 9Y, and then you can
Yes.
say the C,
C.
right, is the C, and then
And
the
the
H is the 4, and then the C
okay.
is again the C, and then the 6 is an O.
Psycho. Oh,
Right,
wow.
right. So we were doing some research where we said have the domain name. Have you ever heard of like 1-800 mattresses or 1-800 flowers? That the phone
Yeah.
number is also matching the domain name. And what we tried to see, will it increase the return on investment of certain companies? So for you, I don't know, we have to kind of think about what is the main theme. You want to have something that it's a main theme, not exactly your what is the name of your company?
Bria. Bria.
Bria. So you could do Bria, but maybe it'd be better. What are you actually doing? You're doing leadership, you're doing coaching. What are you doing?
Leadership.
So maybe
Yes.
leadership or something like that I can remember. Maybe, and then it could be like I'm giving you an example, like maybe leader AI or something like that you'll get into using AI.
Leadership has the exact amount of letters we need for a
Okay,
phone.
so that's something like leadership, right? So if we can get that phone number and your domain name, you could have another domain name called leadership as well, and then that leadership could even point to your original one. Do you understand? Point to your original, and what we're trying to do, what we're doing is seeing what types of businesses does this work for. Some that are very, very specific may not work for. Like a number of attorneys, those that were doing who really liked it is like insurance companies come to us and all the PI attorneys, but like appellate courts, if you had to appeal your court, it's so specified that you wouldn't be looking at it. So we were trying to do certain uh, business, and this is part of our research. So what we did is,
But
so
how
we
can we get the right tone? I
yeah,
mean, the
yeah.
number.
So we'll if we're interested and it seems like it works, you know what I mean. There's no guarantees if it works. Then if it does, we may have some students work on it. Some of my students working on my research, and then we try it out. that we make it separate. Maybe in the beginning we make like a separate website so it's not going to affect you. And then later on, if you seem to get more traction to it, we then abandon it because it's part of our research. We kind of see this is a type of company it works for, this is the type of company it doesn't work for. Then if you want, you can take it over. You take over the phone, you take over.
And it is a gift.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like it's mutual. You know what I mean? We need to see where I'm at the stage in my research that I tried to do a lot of applied research. Some of my colleagues, for instance, when I asked, well, you tried that out, did it really work with the company? And they go, I was shocked. They say, we don't care. All we care about is publishing the paper. I have colleagues like that. And for me, I care. You understand? Because I mentor a number of companies. To me, it's important that it will work. It works or it doesn't work, or what to improve. So we look at a number of different technologies and trying to see which fits. And one of the things, sometimes I have people that are insistent so much that they think that I'm selling something, they want it. You understand? So it basically, and I say, I'm not selling anything. This is part of our research. I'm not India that will, help you. And it brings you up in the search engines. They think that I'm going to do it for them. You understand? So it basically, so I have your number here, 786, right here, 609 1592. So I have to check with, I'm using Google. I have to check with Google whether it will go through your number. You understand? And then what happens is,
The letters don't match like yours.
yeah, no. First, it's just the beginning that you agree to this. You know what I mean? And then what happens is later on, when you can also have it later, and then you can switch later on. If somebody contacts you to get your services, you can pick up that number, or you can transfer it to another number. You understand? You don't have to do it. So it's basically, it's all experimental. I always tell people, if you want to go on the journey with me, fine. If you don't, and things, in real life don't work.
I love innovation journeys. I love women in tech.
Right. No, but I'm just telling you that I have to put kind of like caveats. Some people, when they see it, I sent you, now I sent you a code. Google, check your phone now and see if you got a code. It's 5 digits from Google.
Yes, I got a code.
Okay. And just read off to me the 5-digit code that you got.
Okay. It is 934947.
934 what?
947.
947. Let's see if it goes through. Yes, it did. Yes? Avi's helping me here, so I need all the help that I can. Yeah.
But you're signing into Google with my phone and you're asking the domain, or
No, right now all I'm doing
We'll just call her and see if it works.
basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to call your number starting, and then you'll see when I call your number, you'll get like, this is Google, and then you'll say yes, and then we'll see if it talks. It's like the beginning step to see even if this works, and then we proceed. Then we try to get a domain name and then everything else. Let me see. So right now I'm calling, it's going to be using another number, but it'll be residing at your number right now. Kind of like an idea, like it could be leadership or coach AI or something like that, or jobs.
yeah, leadership is.
I know. We got to see if it's available. You understand? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying one word right now to see it, but we'll see if this process. Yeah. So everything is experimental. What?
Tell me more about you, because we just talked.
I know so briefly. Well, let me give you just a little bit of background, and then we'll see if it works. It's You know, I'm at the University of Miami.
Yes, I can also see the blurred background.
Right. I'm at the University of Miami. I'm a professor there, and I wear a couple of here.
So,
This this is
Sarah.
Sarah.
Oh, I got a call.
Yes,
Hello?
Dave, say hi to her.
I can't get it. Right now.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear
To
me?
accept, yes, to accept,
You have
press
to
1.
accept. You hear me
Now I
now?
got it.
Okay,
Yeah,
great. Well, we got the
Look,
first step. Perfect.
so just hang up.
Yeah, just hang up. So we know that we've connected. Okay, and then we'll try to get once we kind of speak and we can see what the connection is. We'll see where we can do.
Job coach AI.
So right now,
That is what you specialize
yeah,
in.
right now that number that's connected to you spells jobs coach AI, because that's what I specialize in.
We have the students get jobs
And then I help.
about AI.
Yeah, so the students are getting jobs about AI. I'm coaching people. I'm coaching basically executives of how they can use AI in their businesses, how they can basically upgrade their skills in AI.
For example, if she wanted to get an intern
Obviously, yeah. If you wanted to get an intern, for instance,
that will help her with AI, let's
That
say that
will
she
help-
doesn't know much about AI, and those students have been trained on AI.
so all my courses, I teach AI, I do machine learning, but even my general business technology courses, I'm switching it to AI skills. So basically, I'm saying that I don't think anyone in the future with their job will succeed if they're not using as an assistant AI.
So, for example, she can
You understand?
she can get an intern to
I
work for
understand.
free.
Yeah.
I am very inclined to, discuss this further with you and see how we could use an intern for now or something.
Yeah, but it doesn't
It's
necessarily
just
have
an
to.
example.
It's an example. It doesn't have to be an example.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But I would love to have Priya be a little bit more tech and
Yeah,
AI.
yes.
My dream.
Yeah, what's your dream? Excuse me, let me just get my door shut here. Thanks.
So, for instance, we have a master list of every.
Hold on 1 second. Let me just shut my door. What were you saying?
So I have this. I'm giving this leadership course that I created called the CEO Meet and Master. So it was a funny name to say, okay, let's meet the CEOs. Let's see what they have in their plates. What is the agenda and how to deliver impact with that setting. So we invited some CEOs as speakers. We got a group of people to go to the University of Miami, the business school. We went to the one of the classrooms, probably one classroom that you use all the time, and we recorded everything, and then we created the videos that are there online, so people can asynchronously watch the videos, and then they do an exercise, and they follow through the whole process. This is one like signature course for Bria. It's just introduction to systems thinking, how to look at self, the organization, and society through the lens of systems thinking, and ask better questions and connect dots that are not necessarily connected in the business world to deliver more positive impact.
Mm-hmm.
We close the loop with an exercise that is back to self, but also touches upon the professional side, which is the ikigai. So asking the person to kind of brainstorm around what is it that I love, what is it that I'm good at, what is it that the world needs, and what is it that I can get paid for.
Right.
And then
That's a good idea, because people usually say, you know what I like about that is that's common, right? You almost tell your kids all the time the same thing. You'll find out what you're good at and what you'll enjoy. But I like it where you put in, and also what I can get paid at. Because people, you need to put food on the table, or you need to be, yeah.
because that's again systems thinking.
Yeah.
The pattern of the economic system.
Uh-huh.
If you don't have remuneration, you're not going to have all the other elements of a good life.
Right.
So you need to generate income somehow
Right.
and play according to the rules of
Yeah.
the economy.
Right.
So wherever you are, that's the same pattern. It needs to generate some kind of income. Of course, you don't have to be like profit only.
Right.
You can
Right.
provide
Right.
services, you can do other things, but
Of course.
it's
Yeah.
an element.
Okay. So that's
So,
the
so
first
yeah,
course.
that's the first course. So it has 12 exercises that go
Hmm.
with the videos, with the classes,
So this
sort
is
of.
asynchronous. I sit. So if I
Yes,
take your course, I
and
sit by
watch.
myself and I go through the videos.
Yes.
No one's.
But
Yeah.
during the pandemic, what I did, because people don't just go there to Bria, who is nobody, and
Right.
buy leadership course and take it. No.
Right. And there's millions of that stuff on the online. Right. How are
I
you going to
created,
differentiate yourself? Yeah.
yes, so I created cohorts. So I get companies to pay for their employees, or I invite people from vulnerable communities like in Africa, Peru, whatever,
Wow.
and I create I curate a cohort from 15 to 25 people with different capabilities, different geographies, and
Nice.
different stages in life.
Yeah.
We come together for 4 weeks. So in the 4 weeks, I tell them, okay, now on your own, you can watch the videos, do the exercise up to this point, and then we come together for a live session via Zoom where we're going to have this one exercise done as a group.
Hmm.
So we have the peer learning there. We exchange
And you do,
ideas
and the group is how big?
from 15 to 25 students, and the groups might vary. Sometimes it's 2 by 2, sometimes it's 3,
And you
sometimes
do
it's
like
4
breakout rooms or what?
breakout rooms, yes. And then we try to keep the same group during the live session because one week you go, the other week you don't go, so the others don't, stop learning just
Right.
because you didn't show up. So we try to make the most out of the people who come to the live session so that they can interact.
Hmm.
And then we also offer like a mentoring session at the end, a one-on-one session for each of the participants, so that we close the loop there and say, okay, what was good for you? What
And you do the mentoring one on one private or the mentoring one on one where everyone sees it?
no private? So the
Private. So
person
I
is
you
there
so if I'm in the group, you take me privately and you give me a mentoring
yes,
session. And how long is that?
45 minutes. So after
Wow.
you do the whole program and you did the exercises, you will see, okay, what is it that spoke to you, that
Mhm.
resonated with
Mhm.
you, or that you would like to go deeper? So it's
Right.
an opportunity to go deeper and close the loop so the person leaves the class
Mhm.
with some practical aspect to work upon. So, for
Right.
instance, if it's a person who's transitioning and looking for another job, maybe
Right.
they will need to focus more on the ikigai to look for the opportunity that's unfolding with that more
Right.
systemic approach. Or if the person is already in a company and is struggling to deliver the value propositions to all the people,
Whatever issues they have.
there is an exercise that's good for that. So I ask them to do that. And there is a generic exercise that is putting the problem in the middle and looking for everything that's around it to look for emergence. So I try to apply systems thinking to business
Great.
decision making, right? So with this format, I've already trained 315 people from 40 countries,
Wow. Starting when? How long has this been?
2020 to 2024. So first cohort this year was in May. I'm gonna do a second one in August. So this is like it's becoming something that we can compare from since we started and the
And
results
and
that
uh, and you've now done also in person. Is that the thing that you have you
I did the
started that?
first one in person in at the UM and then I recorded. But this format I have been only doing like this, same format, but different participants around the world.
Hmm.
And then I have a survey that goes after every live session, and I have a survey at the end. But I also have a survey 1 year after they graduate, and I ask them if they think that anything improved because of that skill that they learned.
That's important also to have some time. Because I always used to think about that even in the university, is maybe they hated that course that you took, but then after a year or 2 years, you know what was the most valuable course I took was that accounting course that I hated so much, or whatever.
Exactly.
Right.
or that skill made a
Maybe,
difference, and then I
yeah, now
lost
I
it,
look at
right?
it differently. Yes.
Yeah, or I wish I had studied more because I need it
And yeah,
nowadays.
yeah, you hear that all that. No, you get in perspective and you see you're at a different point of time too.
Exactly. So that's what we do.
That's a
We are
great
a B
idea.
Corp. So we are a B
Continuous
Corp.
like feedback.
Yeah, and because we're a B Corp, we need to measure the impact we have on the
Right.
participants. So that's the way we found to measure. So my dream,
Yeah, what's your
I have
dream?
this 300 and some participants, and I continue to offer this. So I'm growing. I would love to see the net, like the network that I create through BRIA. So the speakers and the participants for the different cohorts, the 40 countries. I had a person offer me a technology once, but unfortunately it didn't fall through. It was machine learning. So you would go online,
You're right.
get the LinkedIn's of the people who are listed with us, because they all share their LinkedIn profile or
Right.
Facebook profile,
Right.
and we could capture all of the information that's public about those people
Right.
and would create the visual digital network for me. And I would know where the nodes are, who is talking to who, and then I could kind of have that live visual of who is the BRIA alum and how are they are interactions happening after they join BRIA, more so when we do certain things or not,
You know what would be
you know,
interesting to add to that is kind of like their skill set.
right?
You know, it would be
Awesome. Yeah.
interesting
Who
then
connects with
among,
who?
it's almost like LinkedIn, you know, when I'm looking for somebody for the job, but you almost can be like a mini LinkedIn too,
Right. But
that
I
you
don't
could
want to.
basically say, I really need a person that has experience in Brazil, that I need, it's a certain culture there, you
Yeah,
know.
but also they could go and see, look, I have this issue, and who are the ones who are looking at this issue right now, or
No,
who have
no, it's perfect.
they could,
Almost getting like group therapy.
yes,
No,
and they could
seriously, we have
come
this.
together.
Either you solved it or we're both dealing with this issue. How are you dealing with that issue? And making it private. You know, I've
Exactly.
seen that. I don't know if you knew that group. I met them a while back. This was before, you know, everything is like pre COVID or not. I met a group and they must have been, you may even have them in your group, I think. They were high executive women in Latin America. You know, they were working for international companies, and they used to meet together to talk about their issues, but they were all in separate companies. And they
Yes, I
invited me
have
one time.
created.
What is that
I create.
group? Do you know them? They were
Uh,
for a
I
while.
I created a group that's just like that called Midas. I created it in 2008 in Brazil, and we are now about 100 people scattered all over the world. But
This was in
what?
Miami. These were based in Miami, and they met, you know, and I remember there was an attorney from Facebook. She was doing privacy, but I'm just saying it was kind of like the idea that they met together. There were women, and they only invited women that were high executive, you know, like themselves.
Yeah,
And it was,
I I
and
have
they
I
basically spoke about their issues, and they felt comfortable because it was going to be kept private, and it was,
yeah.
they were the same idea. But anyways, it's just
No,
passing.
I think I know what you're talking about. There is a group here. I just can't remember their name, but I was invited to join and I didn't
Yeah,
join, and
yeah,
I
but
also
I'm just saying, but something like that, that people need to connect, and they need to, I like that network is, I can,
yeah,
it's almost like a
it's like
lot of
it's
times
like
startups, you know, if I, they used to do it with startups too. Let me meet other people that are further along than I am in a startup, or we're in startups together that I'm not comfortable. I'm not going to share it with my own group, right? Right.
but I would like the AI to capture it automatically and not even
Yes,
have to
yes. I see it almost like doing network. They used to call it network analysis. You know, they
yes,
used to even do it with, I've dealt with some Israeli companies that they used to do it a lot. They did it for security purposes.
right.
You know
So
what I mean? Let me see, almost, you know what? It's also on money laundering. Let me see
yes,
who spoke to
yes.
who, follow the money trail kind of thing.
That's why we can only use the public
Yeah,
information
yeah,
because of for cybersecurity
yeah,
risk. I don't
yes.
want to expose them
No,
to
no,
something
and
that
there's no reason, but it's
right.
almost like a given. And I don't mind if I'm part of your group. I don't, you're not sharing anything personal that I'm telling you. You know, some things, if you're giving me a 45-minute, I want that between me and you know, that I have the, what was that I have the imposter syndrome or something, somebody sharing with you. You don't want that to be, you know what the imposter syndrome, yeah, something like that, that I really think that all the time that I'm really not qualified for my job. I don't want that to be out there.
And we could have levels of clearance to share kind of information. So
Yeah.
we could create not a separate platform, but I wanted it to navigate the public platform and
And
connect.
that you would see it or that everybody in the group would see it.
Everybody can see and use. So your point,
Right.
that's a benefit for the company. I mean, you join the BRIA community, you have access to all those other leaders sitting in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
But not only LinkedIn, because there are some students that don't like LinkedIn, that
Right.
only use Facebook.
Yeah.
So we can have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and
Yes.
then Twitter or
Right.
whatever, and
Right.
then see the whole public exposure of the persons and find the networks that make sense for specific activities or moments. So what happened after I did this course, the leadership CEO MetaMaster
Yeah.
course, I was challenged by my board to go again and do something else. So we created a second course that I did at the University of Miami, February, at the Lakeside Auditorium.
And what was
Called,
that?
it's called High Tech, High Wisdom, Igniting Leaders for Transformation. So that's course number two.
And
I
what did that cover?
So I am testing transcontextual learning and thinking. So I selected three different contexts that are usually looked upon or discussed separately, and I weave them in the program together. So
Okay.
future, present, and future is high tech. There's
Right.
no way back.
Yeah.
So that's a context. The
Right.
other one is innovation. Oh no, the self is high wisdom. There's something about the natural intelligence that
Right.
is superior to the
Yeah. Yeah.
artificial intelligence.
Yes.
So
Yes.
where is that wisdom and where can I tap into that
Yeah.
to navigate the complexity of the artificial intelligence
Of
world?
course. That's what I was talking to you before. It goes hand in hand. You want to spend your day doing high level intelligence. You don't need to spend your day doing things that,
Computational intelligence, right?
right, or things that are, it's going to enhance your way. Okay.
Exactly. Because see, some people say that wisdom has layers, right? So the knowledge that comes from data is like computational intelligence kind
Right.
of knowledge. But the intuition and the creativity and the
No,
spiritual
right.
intelligence only
Yeah.
comes as you develop them in different ways. And that's always going to be, we hope, superior to what the
Oh,
intelligence from
and we need it.
people do.
I
We
think
need it.
there is that sense that we're human beings, that we need that connection. You know, I
Right.
think that's where, it was, and so it's part of that as well.
We are seeing all the increasing mental health
Oh yeah.
illnesses, suicides,
Yeah,
almost
yeah, yeah.
the quiet quitting. Everything is happening, and we are not dealing with emotions. We're not dealing with spirituality.
Yeah.
So we need to bring that conversation to the business world.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
And one of the speakers was from Columbia University. This
Uh-huh.
professor is doing studies to map where spirituality lies in the brain. So with these scans, she has been able to tell
Interesting.
the military that spirituality is innate, and the military is paying her to go deeper into the studies to investigate
Yeah,
further. So
no.
it's
There's so
amazing
much now
research.
with neuro science
Yeah,
too, yeah.
that's the second
Yeah.
context we've been. And the third is on innovation, because business is all about
Yep.
innovation, but
Right.
not all kinds of innovation are good.
Right.
So I brought the concept of nature positive innovation. So innovation can be nature positive. You don't have to destroy the environment or
Mhm.
bring toxic materials to people. You can use biomimicry to learn from the R&D that's sitting there in your backyard and
Mhm.
nature
Mhm.
and become more intelligent about the
Yeah.
way you innovate. So weaving these three contexts
Yeah.
together, we created this second course called High Tech, High Wisdom. I
Mhm.
am in the process of reviewing the videos, and the challenge for me now is I don't want to line it out in the website linearly. I wanted to create a format that is more spiral, that you can go and watch some conversation and build upon it and go back to some exercise that's more, you know, adding to what you've reflected upon before.
Right.
So it's the struggle because I don't know what's going to happen. But this could be a course that the 300 and some people can do or not. I can open up a new door for other leaders to come to RIA through this new course, right? So anyway, so I have the different courses. I have the advisory I do for company, but at the end of the day, they're all people. They're all part of the RIA network. The speakers also have their own network that as soon as they become a speaker, they connect with all of those people in a specific and special way. So this Dr. Miller, she didn't charge to be a speaker,
Right.
and none of the speakers did, but she asked if I could give the book away. So I did, and everybody was so interested in getting her autograph, but
Right.
also some people were interested in following up with her later on. So, oh, I read the book and I want to follow up with her. Can you connect me with her? And then lots of connections came
Yeah,
from
you never know. No, that's but that's it's almost you're. Have you heard the expression "eating your own dog food"? Have you heard that expression?
no, that's new for me. What is that? What does
Okay,
that mean?
that's a good one. I use it all the time. I worked with Microsoft quite a bit with their executive almost from the beginning, and we always used to say, "Eat your own dog food," meaning when you produce a product, you have to actually use it. It's almost like people were talking about, Zoom is trying to recreate itself. Have you noticed that everybody was using Zoom and now everybody's going to back and now they're stuck? They hired all these people, they have to get rid of them now, and now they have to figure out what to do. So somebody was, when they were interviewing the CEO, they asked him, now you're demanding your folks to come back to the office. If you don't come back to the office 2 days a week, you are fired in Zoom. So they say here it's like antithetical to your business. And they say, no, it's the opposite. We want to almost also eat our own dog food. How is it going to be hybrid? If we're only 2 days a week, right, we set a connection, then how are we going to do the other 3 days a week? So one of the things I'm telling you is you're eating your own dog food in the way that you're thinking about those connections, and you're
Right.
basically practicing your own type. So you're trying it out in your own organization, that not only are you giving them advice, but you're trying it out in yourself in terms of the connections, right? My speakers will be connected, you will be connected, you'll be connected. It's an evolving connection that you're doing, and you're trying that constant constantly evolving, because that's what we have to do. If we're stagnant in this society, we will be, number one, out of business, and number two, almost we will be out, almost like you say, we will be out almost emotionally too. Spiritually, you will be out if you remain stagnant and don't want to grow, right? You're going to be out, and it's a shame. So yours is evolving, not only learning but evolving in terms of connection, and you yourself and your company are also what I call eating your own dog food, trying it out and constantly doing it. So it's the same thing. If I have a product on Microsoft, or I don't care who I am, if I have to try it out in my own company, and if they number one, it's good because they get to see what are all the issues that are going to come about. But if they don't like it, why would anyone else like it? So it's the same thing like Zoom, where they say, how in the world are you're defeating your thing? And they say, no, we're making it so it's going to be hybrid, because that's how the world's going to be, right? Many times, if I can't come to the university now, I can meet you. It would be better if we were together, right? In many ways. But this is basically, like I say, almost like, you know, what made the internet popular. I was involved with when the internet was first coming out, and really what made it popular, you know what industry that was?
No.
Porn, pornography. That really started doing it. But there's no substitution for real sex, right? porn may be good for a number of people, maybe not, but there's no substitution. Same thing, that real interactions there, but there are going to be substitutes that's good, that can help us. So the beauty of yours is that you're doing almost a hybrid approach, that many times you're not going to get people from Africa, and you're not going to get people from Peru and all over the world to come to one place. And even if we're in the same city, where do you live, by the way?
Oh, we're close. I'm in Palmetto Bay.
Okay, so I'm just saying that the idea here in terms of our schedule, sometimes it fits to do this instead. So you're basically using it the same way. Yeah, so
it's perfect. And you touched upon something that is also another dream. So I
what?
spoke dream one. Dream two is I would like to write research
Yeah.
with someone who knows research and I
Right.
don't. I'm an
Yeah.
academic on leadership, but not what had been done in the past.
Right.
This new vision for leadership in the future. And you touched upon one very
What?
important aspect. If you stay stagnant and no growth, you're out.
Yeah.
So can we frame a research question and do something together to investigate this further? I'd love to
Yeah,
help you with
there's so
that.
many. Write it down. You know what I mean? Write it down, and we'll see. It's almost. I see it. I don't know. It's funny, but I meet so many people, and it's usually I've been telling myself now I have to say no. There's certain things that I have to say. I just can't say yes to everything. Almost in that music conference, my husband got me into that conference. I did not. If I would have said, I would have said no. Listen, I have too many things. And then once I did it, what I said was, I kept on. The people that were just part of my group were just so interesting that I ended up having like 10 people that were going to be on my group, and I couldn't handle it. But I just said, I don't care if anybody's going to be in the audience. The group we have are just such interesting people that I would have never met before, and they were even partly in my backyard. There was a new professor that just came from England, and through connections, somebody that know somebody, or I invited somebody. They said, I'm not the person you want. This is a better person you want. And there were so many of those that I went to my regular sources where I was looking at. But I'm just telling you that when I met you, I don't know, something sparked in me that I had to reach out, and I rarely do that. I just want to let you know that I was surprised at myself. I rarely do that, but there's something about you that it seemed,
Intuitive wisdom.
you know what I mean? But because usually people hunt me down, and I usually have to say, I have one friend that I met her one time in I was a keynote speaker in a company called Millennial. Have you heard of them? It's an interesting. They're based in part Miami, New York. What they do, it's interesting, and you've probably seen it even when you were in GE. They take people in the same industry, in the executive board. They bring them out to exclusive settings. This one was in Miami, and what was it? The one I forgot even what one of the resorts, and they bring them out. Everything paid. So if I brought you out when you were in GE, I brought you out. I paid for even your trip to the airport, your airport things. I put you up in the Four Seasons or whatever, 3 days. And the only thing I asked for is that you meet with a couple of vendors that match your needs. And the rest of the time, you're going to be meeting with your cohorts in your industry. So
Yeah. I'm
basically,
going to an institution that does conversations around libertarian studies, like Adam Smith and things
now
like
this
that.
was more like, transformation or whatever, but it was very interesting. I really liked their opportunity because there were excellent people there.
Yeah.
What was more interesting again was that you were able, just like you do, you were able to speak with your peers that you normally don't have a situation. You're in a relaxing environment, and you got the vendors. They loved it. They pay a lot. Basically, all of this is backed by those vendors. The vendors beforehand, you meet with them one on one. You don't meet long time, but you meet with them. They're the decision maker, and they match your needs. So you're not going to be meeting with a vendor just to sell you something, just like this would be. You'll meet with vendors that have that network I'm just giving you an example, that have that network software. That may be an interesting business model for you.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love this company in the way, and then they got keynote speakers that basically they got some that were for academic, ways in which they gave. I did two. I did one keynote, and then it was an interesting, I did a women in tech, that they have hard time hiring women in technology. So it wasn't the idea they were all saying, and then I was basically bringing it out to those in the audience. What are your real issues? And what do you think about almost your daughters? And it was almost like a cultural thing too, that a lot of people, like the Asians, the Indians, basically they have a lot of women that are in software, because that's for girls. Just like here in the United States, maybe marketing is for girls. In Asia, it was software was girls, because that's easier than being a hardware engineer. You know what I mean? So it was like, but what I liked about it, it became, my point here is that there was a woman from HP, and she came around, and there was plenty of time where you sat, and she came around, and she was pretty aggressive, but she was really interested, and she kept on saying, and then at one point she says to me, I said, maybe you could come as a guest speaker one time. And I say that sometimes when I find something of interest, but I also, most people just don't even respond. She kept on going, and finally we became quite good friends. That she kept on persisting, that you can see from that just organization. And later on, when I was I guess nominated for Women in Tech for the Hall of Fame. They needed videos from me. You know how they do all these things. It's out in California. She basically volunteered. She goes, "I'll take it over for you, Sarah." And she even came with me. We became
Oh,
good friends. She said, "I have points from," she works for EY, now she works for EY, but she used to be for HP. She said, "I have all these points. I'll come with you, and I'll give," and you needed someone to give basically a little
testimonial.
introduction before they get it. But I'm just saying that it's that networking. But maybe you can even think about something like that, where you can. It's not like a sell kind of thing, but it may be a way in which, if you got the right vendors, and they got people that make the right decisions, because that's the whole idea. What does a vendor want? A vendor wants a decision maker, right, to get their foot in the door. You're an executive. You get thousands of these that you block off. You don't want to answer it. But if you get in that setting, they have that setting, and it's valuable. It's not just a vacation. People, these type of people can make their own vacation. You know what I mean? And go to these places. But it's the idea. I give you everything, so I mark the thing. And the exciting thing for these people is that I'll be inspired, and I'll meet other people
And
in
you
my
can do
area.
like a small curation too. So, for instance, we're talking leadership. What
Right.
are vendors that can complement what Bria does?
Yes.
So, coaches or you know some AI things that
Right. Right.
or recruiting firms or whatever.
Right.
We,
Right.
we can have some criteria to validate them in the network, and not that they will be offering directly, but the people can say, okay, look, if you want to be part of the network, you can have access to this curated list of vendors that have to do with
You're a
leadership.
member, but that you can come in, and
Right.
and that you're a sponsor for this event, and you what I liked about them, let's say they were in this thing, they did it physically, which was nice
Yeah.
too. You understand?
Yeah.
And they put it up. You look them up. They do really nice. And there's a number of competitors of theirs. I did it a couple times. Also, it was convenient for me. At one time, they were in Miami, so I didn't have to, take a day, fly back and forth. But it was interesting that before you got there, you did a survey of kind of your needs, and these were the vendors, and you then, all they require you to do is meet with these vendors, but they were the top vendors that met your needs. So you didn't waste your time. The vendor didn't waste the time, and you didn't waste the time. And all you did is you had a one-on-one with them. You went in, I think it was 20 minutes or something. You had to meet with 3 vendors for 20 minutes, so it wasn't a lot. You learned about it. And then in other times they would see you, they would be there 3 days. But what was interesting, Adriana, is they had a session. One session I was doing, I've forgotten, and it was about issues that I was like the moderator, so I'm not selling anything as a professor, right? I was the moderator of the group. So you, Adriana, let's say you were GE, you were with other people in your specific, let's say it was healthcare or something, or it was one of the ones, it was even gambling, like all those Las Vegas, the things, and basically what are you dealing with? And then we went around the table, and vendors were not allowed to come in. And it was kind of a way in which, again, you could speak with your cohorts in a kind of secure environment. Vendors were not allowed there, and then you could talk later on. So even one was, how do you get women? One of the sessions was, how are we going to get women? I want to fill up those tech spots, but there's no women that are qualified. That I go to these universities, I don't have enough. So somebody was coming out with, maybe you can train some of these women. Maybe you can even change, what they were saying is, change what you're talking about is the qualifications for the job. Change what the job description is. Women look for different things about a job. They don't want to work by themselves in the back room. Women want to be more cooperative. I'm just giving you examples. They want to be more cooperative. You can even change how you're approaching. It's the same job, right? But you're purporting it in a different fashion that they would be interested in. And it may be, do they need all those skills that you're saying? Maybe they don't really need those skills. Maybe you can train them on something else, to get them up to speed, but they really don't need to be coders, heavy-duty coders. What they need to do is be able to get groups together and be more project manager kind of thing. But I'm just telling you about it. It was, and then they would get, and then they would have somebody like from NASA, somebody in one of the dinners, come in and inspire from NASA or something like that, something like that. But I think that kind of setting where it's lucrative for them, and it is so valuable for the people that they do it in different places. I don't know if they do it internationally, but they definitely do it in different places in the country that, next time. And it's, really 5-star kind of way, open bars, and each time another vendor would do, let's say from 8 to 9, there was an open bar, at this, what was it? It was right at the end. It was in, the name slips me, of that fancy hotel.
We thought of that too, and similarly to what you're describing, we were creating like learning experiences that were more immersive and nice views and things like that. I love that. Maybe in the near future, I need to find.
No, but I'm just saying something like that you don't have to depend. Your revenue doesn't have to depend on these people. But the vendors, and you're curating it for them, and it's not a hard sell. It's only part of it. And I'm giving you, wouldn't it be great if you got an opportunity to, I'm just off the top of meeting those software vendors in leadership that you can incorporate into, not only into your own work to make yourself more efficient, but into your programs or something like that. Because it's now, especially in the AI field, it is just so overwhelming for companies. It's changing so quickly. How do I train them? What I have now is not, what other time in our life was software changing and hardware changing so quickly? 3 months and it's already, you're thinking about what's available and how do you get that strategy going. So you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, but it's that evolvement that, so when I have another appointment coming, but in general, what my background is I wear a number of different hats. One is I'm at the University of Miami. I'm a professor in business technology in the School of Business, a full professor, and I also am a professor in health informatics, where I work with the medical school in something called translational research. Do you know what that is?
Yes, yes. And I want to speak to you about that too. It sounds interesting. Oh my gosh.
So I work with a number of mainly physicians trying to get their research into products. So I work with urology in terms of basically men hate to go to the doctor, right? Their spouses usually send men to doctors, right? I don't know about you, but men aren't going. Their significant others or spouses send them. So we decided to do something where it would be more virtual, that even men are embarrassed, like, with erectile dysfunction, anything, with the prostate and so forth, making it less. So we made like a community with him, and basically I had a class where I had there's a master's degree now in the medical school that many physicians do on translational research. So your thesis is to do a grant. Your thesis is not to write some silly paper, but to actually do a grant. So I had a course where I had these physicians with finance, pre-med, and I had some nursing PhDs, and we formed groups. And
We need to continue this conversation because I'm in the board of a company called Nuvo, who has a belt that measures mothers and babies during pregnancy remotely, that has all kinds of data that comes from it. And they're already doing research with some universities, but
yeah.
I think that they are doing just the preeclampsia, the pre-diabetes, mental health. But
Mm-hmm.
there's like a realm of things.
Yeah, there's
And
so many things on that. So I think definitely my intuition was right. I said I
yes,
have to, and I kept on saying, I kept on saying, listen, I have to say no to a number of things, and I have to, say, and then
okay,
it turns
so
out,
I
as a matter of fact, I, I just reached out to somebody else, which I rarely do, and I said, oh, they won't come back, and another person that I do. So that, and then what I also do is I work with a number of companies, from startups to Fortune 500, and looking at technology and strategy. Kind of, it looks giving sometimes more specific advice. I'm the advisor for the city of Coral Gables. I didn't know they have smart cities, so I'm
I
basic.
know. They're the case that I brought for the first cohort. I brought somebody from that
Who'd you bring?
it was Mark Sarasti, but
Okay.
he couldn't, so he sent somebody from his team. And this
That's
lady,
funny because he's a musician. He's from Miami. He's
oh
not
my
from
God,
Coral Gables. But as a matter of fact, the head of innovation in the city of Coral Gables is Raimundo. So Raimundo, basically, I work with him, and basically, CES, Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. It's in January.
yes, yes, yes,
Yes. So
yes.
I went. I sometimes go out with him to that show in Las Vegas. They have a booth there in Smart Cities, but I basically help him basically decipher all the technology and things like
I
that.
used to go to that with Intel when I was with
Right, right.
Intel.
You were in it with Intel? That's funny.
Yes,
I work with. Have you heard of Mobile Eye?
no, no.
Type it in. Mobile, Mobileye.
Mobile B,
Mobile, Mobil, like your eye, like you see, EYE. It basically started, it was a company from Israel. It started with two professors, and basically, it's in your car and you don't even know it. Like the lane departure system, the
uh-huh.
basically the automated basically braking system. They're now doing autonomous vehicles. Bottom line, it was two professors starting out with someone that started with their chip design. They started this company, and I work with them, and then basically uh, they started getting business, and then a number of companies, they wanted to go public, an IPO public, and they turned to me and they said, somebody wants to offer us $5 billion. So I just say, you can see how I tell my students a lot of times, don't take my advice all the time. I said, take the money and run from, from your mother's your grandmother's apartment to this 5 billion. They said, no. What is it? Sachs says that we can get maybe 10 or 15. And I said, go for it, but I would take the 5 billion. Well, anyways, bottom line is, who bought them for $16 billion? It was Intel.
Oh, Intel did. Oh my gosh.
Intel bought them, and then basically they bought them, and Intel was not doing well. In the past years, Intel has really done poorly. So this was the only company, the only subsidiary they had that was really producing. So they brought them back to the market. They were before in NASDAQ. They brought them to the New York Stock Exchange. They started with 32 billion just to bring them to market again. So it's just kind of like.
Well, I'd love to hear more about this.
Okay, I got to get going. I haven't.
Let's do you do WhatsApp?
Yeah, I do WhatsApp. Yeah, I like WhatsApp better than LinkedIn. So invite me to, let's do a WhatsApp.
When you're in Miami, the university again.
Yeah.
Let's in person. I'd love
Well, or even we can do it somewhere else in person. You know what I mean? Because in the summer I'm not going to be, but we can set up, or we can set up another time. We got to kind of, I think there's so many different things that we have in common. We almost have to prioritize.
I'll try to write down the 4 that I wrote.
Yeah, and then when things are coming up, and then I'll let you know on other things in terms of where I want to do some things. I want to do some things also in well, there's so many different. I think mental health with AI, and as being as an adjunct, not as a replacement for therapy, but as an adjunct in conversational AI can be huge. And I really believe in that. Thinking about all the we all deal with mental issues and so forth, but I think that is such a big one that there's a lot of resistance to it among, the therapeutic community. But I think there's a huge, I'd like to get in. As a matter of fact, I have another call. I just got a message. There's a guy in, and also my undergraduate is from Tel Aviv University, and then I had my graduate work done at University of Texas at Austin. So I do a number of work. I do a lot of service, to the international community, also local.
That I mentioned, Nuvo is from Tel Aviv.
Really?
So another synchronicity there.
Funny. And I deal with a lot of Israeli company, in that specialty of my undergraduate is from Tel Aviv University. So now what they just set up, that horrible thing in October 7th, is they need mental health. I mean, talk about that whole area needing mental health. Is they started a PTSD clinic that they were supposed to do like a year ago, but they started it early. And I just reached out to the director there, and I said, I went to a webinar since I'm alumni. They had this, of just people coming. I'm not even talking about the hostages coming back. I'm talking about just normal people that you're in disarray. Is how do you help people with PTSD? And that's a whole country that has PTSD. But I'm going to talk to them about AI. With that, now there's not enough therapists even. That's funny about that. Is really coming. How did you get involved with them? We can talk for hours.
Yeah, I was invited to be in their board, and before they were public.
But how'd they know about you? How do you know about them?
It was another person who knew me from
Okay.
that invited me to.
Yeah, your board looked very impressive too. I looked at your website. You can see that they all have kind of that blended wisdom together almost.
Yeah, that was cherry picked.
Yeah, but when somebody sees that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk again.
We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, there's so much synergy here. I feel like I have a new friend.
Me too.
Really?
Likewise.
Okay,
Have a
we're
wonderful
blessed.
rest of the
Okay,
day.
so then
Bye.
we'll talk about other things. We can even just go out for a bite or
And
something
let's
like
eat
that.
lunch or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
let's
go
go
out.
out for a lunch sometime. I think that'd be better than going to the university. You know what I mean? Getting
Yeah.
away almost, or going someplace. It's nice with a nice view. You know.
Lunch it will be. We'll
Okay.
schedule it
All
for
right.
WhatsApp.
Okay. Ciao,
Thank
ciao.
you.
Good to
Bye,
see you. Bye,
Princess.
bye.
Good to see you.
Bye.